Have you ever wondered why your history class felt like one big debate club while your science class was all about memorizing facts? Or why one teacher was obsessed with group projects and another one demanded total silence? Well, the answer lies in something you've probably never actually seen: the hidden blueprints of education. Today, we're going to explore the major philosophies that secretly design our classrooms.
Okay, so let's just start with the most basic, most fundamental question of all. What is school actually for? I mean, really? Is it supposed to train you for a job? Is it there to make you a good citizen? Or maybe it's all about personal growth, finding yourself. Or is the whole point simply to learn how to think critically? The answer you give, well, it reveals a whole lot about your own philosophy.
And trust me, you are not the first person to ask this question. For centuries, some of the greatest minds in history have wrestled with this exact problem. And their answers, their big ideas, they're not just stuck away in some dusty old books. Oh no, they are alive and well, and they're actually competing with each other inside the walls of every single school, shaping how you learn, what you learn, and even why you're learning it. So, let's decode them.
We're going to start with the two heavyweights, the classic foundations of Western education: idealism and realism. You can think of these as the original, traditional blueprints.
First up is idealism, and the name really says it all. It is about ideas. For idealists, ultimate reality isn't physical stuff. It's the world of the mind, of the spirit, of concepts. So for them, education is not about getting job skills. No, it's a much higher calling, to develop the mind and soul, and to search for timeless universal truths.
So what does this actually look like in a classroom? Well, in an idealist classroom, the teacher is the star of the show. They're a moral and intellectual role model who guides students toward the truth. The curriculum is just packed with the great books. We're talking classic literature, philosophy, history. The whole goal is to wrestle with the big questions. And the main tool they use? The Socratic method. It's all about this constant questioning and dialogue to try and uncover the truths that idealists believe are already waiting inside your mind.
Okay, now let's flip the coin completely and talk about realism. If idealism is all about looking inward for truth, realism is all about looking outward. Realists believe that reality exists out there, totally separate from our minds. A rock is a rock, whether we're thinking about it or not. The world is just made of objective, observable facts.
And this really gets to the core of it. For the realists, our minds don't create reality. They perceive it. So the whole point of education, then, is to understand this objective world as accurately as possible, using our senses, our logic, and the scientific method.
So the realist classroom is all about structure and facts. The curriculum is neatly divided up into subjects like math and science. The teacher's job is to be an expert who can efficiently transmit this verified knowledge to the students. So, think lectures, demonstrations, and tests that are just there to check if you've mastered the facts about the world. So you can see the fundamental split here, right? Idealism argues that truth is found within the mind, and the goal is wisdom and character. Realism insists that truth is discovered in the outside world, and the goal is knowledge and facts. You could almost say one is about becoming a good person, and the other is about understanding the world exactly as it is.
But not everybody agreed that education should just be about a teacher pouring knowledge into students' heads. A whole new wave of thinkers came along and said, hold on, what about experience? This brings us to naturalism and pragmatism.
Naturalism is pretty much what it sounds like. It trusts nature, specifically the nature of the child. Naturalists believe that children have their own innate timeline for development, and education should follow that, not try to fight against it with a bunch of rigid schedules and subjects.
And this is a really radical challenge to everything we've talked about so far. Naturalists are skeptical of what they call bookish learning. For them, the child is the sun, and the curriculum and the teacher, they orbit around the child. The ideal classroom isn't really a room at all. It's the great outdoors, a free environment where a child's own curiosity can lead the way.
Now, following closely on this idea is pragmatism. If naturalism says follow the child, pragmatism says follow the problem. This is the ultimate philosophy of what works. You can forget about timeless truths or objective facts. For a pragmatist, an idea is true if it helps you solve a real practical problem in the here and now. So the pragmatic classroom is a busy, noisy, active place. It's a laboratory, not a lecture hall. This philosophy is a direct revolt against the idea of fixed, absolute knowledge. Here, learning happens by doing. You don't just read about democracy, you form a student government. You don't just memorize the formula for buoyancy, you go build a boat and see if it floats. It is all about hands-on, problem-solving activities.
Okay, so we've had ideas, facts, and experience. But what if the entire point of education isn't about any of that? What if it's just about you? This brings us to our most radical philosophy, existentialism.
Existentialism argues that we are born into a world without any inherent meaning or purpose. We are just here. And because of that, we are radically free. The purpose of life, and therefore education, is for each individual to use that freedom to choose their own values and create their own meaning.
And this is the key takeaway. In existentialism, there is no external truth or natural law to follow. The individual is the center of their own universe. The starting point for everything is your own subjective experience, your own consciousness.
And this quote from Sartre is the heart of it all. You can't escape choice. I mean, even not choosing is a choice. An existentialist education, therefore, would be all about awakening students to this freedom and then forcing them to take responsibility for creating themselves. The curriculum would be filled with choices, designed to help students discover their passions and to find their own essence.
So we have these 5 powerful competing blueprints for education. But here's the thing. Your school isn't just one of them. It's a mix of all of them. The modern classroom is a philosophical cocktail.
Let's break it down. When you're reading Shakespeare and debating themes of justice and fate, that's idealism. When you're memorizing the periodic table or the dates of the Civil War, that is pure realism. That little school garden or the annual nature walk, that's a nod to naturalism. Building a model volcano or working on a big group presentation, that's pragmatism in action. And every time you get to pick an elective or choose your own paper topic, you're getting a little taste of existentialism.
So you see, these philosophies aren't just abstract theories. They're like the code running the system you're in every single day. Understanding them means understanding why your education looks the way it does. Which leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. Now that you know the blueprints, if you were in charge, what kind of school would you build?